So the first part is to supply a link to a form. And so what I have here, or to a page that goes to a form. What I have here is my class description. And if we look at the class description, you can see here we have this choose class here. So you can choose your class here. And when you click that link, you come to the page where you can choose what group you want to join. So here what I've done is I've separated into class A and B. As in the other case study we have already done, you can see here we have empty seats, and I've set the maximum of persons per group to be 3. And every time someone joins, that goes down to 2, 1, and then 0. And thus here, once you get 0, then we set it up to remove the link. This will prevent students from overloading, going over 3. And they can choose whatever group they want. Now, the added complexity here is that this is class type A. They also have class type B, which does not require groups. And in that case, they just click this link here. So let's look at the code for that link. I've designed the form here. We're going to use the same form for class A or class B. It's not going to be different, but you can see right here up at the top, what I've done is I have a selection of class A or B, the radio button, so the user could choose either one. We're going to automatically fill that in. You'll see in a second. And then if you have a group, then it would show the group. That would only show up though if you chose A. So A goes to section 2. If you did not choose A, you choose class B, then it would go to section 3, and that jumps down here for contact information. And then here, after you choose A, you choose your group, but then it also goes down to contact information. So this is the beauty of the forms, and I think many people use Google Forms, and they do make them like this. You can jump to different sections depending on what's the user's response. The good thing here is we want to use that ability for average users, not programmers, to do this. If you were to try to program or code this yourself, it's not impossible. It's fairly easy, but you need to be a programmer. And you need to also, if you're newly hired and you need to fix the program, you need to know that programmer's code, which is called refactoring, which can be very challenging. So this is a much better approach. We have young employees that come into the office. They can change here what they need to change, maybe make some adjustments or corrections or add another language. That's easy to do. So how do we write this up in the link? Well, remember, we use our join group and then we come over to the get pre-filled link, and it's going to allow us to pre-fill in some of the parts and see where they are, what their identifiers or IDs are. It's going to give us a link, and then we're going to copy that link ID. So over here on one of my Google Sheets, which is basically the database, we have a choose your class page. And this is exactly what we've done in another case study, so I'm not going to go over it in too much detail. But you can see up here I have the join class, and down here is class A. Both of these links are going to go to the form we just looked at. What is the form address? Well, we don't need the whole address, we just need the ID. Because here we're going to add the HTTPS and the docs and the Google. This is always the same. And then we're going to add this. Now we don't want to type the whole thing because it's very long, but if we go ahead and look at defaults and look for B9, we're going to be B9. That's right here, and that is the join group form, is this ID here. So rather than type this every time, we just copy it into here, and then we want to use it in the code, we reference it. So if the user clicks here, they're going to go to this form, and this form has some questions in it that we can pre-answer. If you click on class B, then for the question about do you choose class B or class A, it's going to go ahead and select B. And that's what this does here. This selects B. If, on the other hand, the user chooses to join a group and use class A, then you see this question inside the form, which is the same question, will now answer A. When the user clicks there, they're going to get automatically filled in for A or B. Now, of course, there's nothing to stop them from changing it if they want to, but this really saves a lot of trouble. They just go ahead and do it that way. So this is similar to what we did before, only adding a little bit of complexity of class B or A. And if A, then tell me what group you want to join. So when they click on group 3, what are they going to do? They're also going to fill in automatically that they want to join group 3. 3 here is going to be referenced here on C5. C5, right down here. Group 3. If they clicked on 3. If they click on 4, what are they going to get? 4. C6. C6 is 4. And I don't need to write that formula over and over again. I can just write it once and then drag it down, and it will automatically update as long as we remember the $sign and not using the $sign, the absolute value and the relative value. Now, what if I didn't quite know what to do? I kind of have an idea what I want to do, but I'm not sure how to write it. Well, you can come over to ChatGPT or one of the other AI tools, and you can ask a question. So for example, here's how I would ask this question. How can I make a clickable link in Google Sheets that sends a student to a Google form with their group number already filled in from the sheet? And the AI tells us you need to use the hyperlink function. And then here we have an example from my spreadsheet. I copy my spreadsheet and say my spreadsheet looks like this, and then we'll tell you exactly what to do. Now, will this work all the time? No, we can test it, but if there's a problem, we can go ahead and ask the AI to help us fix a problem, which is quite good at. So here you see that it goes ahead and does the form ID, and then it has the form questions in there. And it also gives us this relative address here. And then down here it explains what these all are. The form ID is your Google form ID. You need to replace entry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with the correct field. And how do you do that? You get a pre-filled link from Google. So this is a great way to use the AI to really help you speed up your development. And once this is done, in the future, your users or your staff don't need to change this. This is pretty much set. But they can change things like the wording and the spelling and the color and the format on the page, and that will not affect this. So that's the beauty of this kind of system. Now that form will send information into this tab here, which we label Join Group. And this again is like our database. All the data comes into here, and you can see each of the questions is saved. Answers to the questions are saved here. And you can see that we have the timestamp, the user's email, which they filled in. And this is the first question at the top that's optional, which is, do you want A or B? And we can see here, most people do choose B in my class, but let me scan up here. There's an A right here. That's an A. And if there is an A, guess what else they have? The group they want to join. So these two people here, they wanted A and they're group 6. And then this person here also wanted A, and they must all be classmates or know each other, friends, and they all chose group 6. Other students chose class type B, and in that case there is no group number. So that group number will be empty. But all the other information, the Chinese name, English name, student number, will stay the same. Irrelevant of choosing A or B, because we need to know your name and your number no matter what class you choose. The next step is we take this information that's come in and we modify it the way we want it. So here I have a tab called Join Group Modified. And for the modified, we come over and I'm going to grab the data, which is a bit of a mess over in the join group. Why? Because people just signed up at different times. Different people, different friends. You saw right there the example of A. Here's an example of a class A, but where are his teammates that he signed up with? Well, they're further away. They're someplace else. And look at this. Here's a couple people who want to be in group 28, and they signed up at the same time, but then somebody else from 28 signed up at a different time. So this is just comes in whenever students do it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So what we want to do is we want to reorganize that data to be more understandable and usable in our class. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and modify the data quickly, make it more convenient for us. So for the first thing we want to do is we would like to have all class A together and all class B together. So what we do is on this next tab, we go ahead right up here in the very top, we run a query for the join group. Remember, the join group is the data that comes in raw. This is the data from the form, unmodified. We go ahead and we run a query of that, and we want to select columns B, C, D, E, F, G, where B is not empty. And then we want to order by C, D, and G. So if B is not empty, meaning here is not empty, if they didn't put in their email, we're going to just skip it and not worry about it. And then we're going to organize it. That means organize it like A to Z, 1 to 10. How are we going to organize it? We're going to order by C and then D and then G. So